Hey guys, welcome back. This is Justin here from Game On. Welcome back to another Halloween Gaming Month 2020 from Game On. We're doing a whole bunch of Halloween themed kind of stuff this year. And we wanted to thank you guys for watching our Call of Cthulhu live play. And I want to give a couple shout outs to the people who played before we get into the 5 reasons why you should try Call of Cthulhu role-playing game for yourself. First people I want to say thank you to is Cardboard on Tap. Swifty came over from their Twitch channel to come play with us, so link to them in the description. And then finally, the rest of the group is going to be people from the Tabletop Dungeoneers, besides Matt Spencer, who I know IRL. We have Facility D20, so his link is in the description. He's also a gamer. Same with Miller's Marvelous Miniverse. It took me forever to remember that. He's also in the description below, a link to his channel, and as well as Beard Clipper, his Minis channel is also linked in the description below. And if you have any interest in the Tabletop Dungeoneers Discord channel, we're a group of people who get together and play and talk about role-playing games and tabletop gaming in general, link to their Discord is also in the description below. And special thanks to Matt and Spencer, who also played, but Matt's in our YouTube channel, and Spencer doesn't have one. So, now with that out of the way, let's get to the 5 reasons why I think, personally, that you should give Call of Cthulhu, the role-playing game, a try. Number 1, and this is a big one here, it's cheap, and it's free. Not the big boy rulebook. The big boy rulebook is not free, obviously. When you get a huge tome like this, you gotta pay core rulebook style prices. But the Quickstart guide is online right now. I'll have a link for it in the description for free. You don't even need to buy dice. You can just use one of those online dice rollers for your D10s. It's free. This is one of those free games where the Quickstart rules is all that you need. Our game that we played in the live stream, 9 PM to Philly, almost all of that was just using the Quickstart rules. Save for the phobias and the manias that we used for the temporary insanities. Nobody needed to buy anything. Everything was completely free for that. And Astral is free too. I pay for the Pro membership, but you don't need Astral to play Call of Cthulhu. It's just a nice way to play it online. So, cheap is free, free is cheap. It is the first one I just want to let you guys know that is free. So, if you can't hurt yourself by just looking at the rules. you don't even have to download them. You can just open them up in a new tab, and Google Chrome or Firefox will just open them. You don't even have to download them. So, I suggest going to take a look at them. They are a beautiful set of quick start rules, and they're just really easy to get you going. Not only that, but they have my favorite game that you should play on and around Halloween, which is The Haunting. It is, The Haunt. I'm always getting that and the Phil Beckwith PB Publishing D&D game that I like so much mixed up. But it's free. And also in the description, I will have a free written module that I made for beginner gamekeepers. I got a whole bunch of upvotes on Reddit's Call of Cthulhu homebrew, and as well as the Call of Cthulhu Reddit. So it is a very good game for also, it's another module just to learn how to play the game that I wrote personally. Link to that in the description. One other link in the description, I'll also have a link to the 9 PM to Philly game script that I used to run that game. It's not designed for people who are new to the game, but I figured might as well let you guys see my disjointed thoughts on that game. My number 2 reason for this is that it is built from the ground up to be an atmospheric game. Everybody here knows that I like Curse of Strahd. Curse of Strahd is my favorite module in D&D 5e, but D&D is not built from the ground up to be a horror game. Curse of Strahd slaps an awesome band-aid on the game to make it more of a horror gothic feel, but Call of Cthulhu is built from the ground up to be specifically for horror gaming. Now, the techniques and other things that it uses to kind of portray that, such as your mental kind of they call it insanity, or your mental points, your sanity, as well as your health points. There are other games like Warhammer Fantasy that uses that, but Warhammer Fantasy is kind of like this goofy gonzo game where you're running around with frying pans and a butcher's knife and you're trying to defeat like orcs. This is more kind of designed for a slow burn kind of game. It's more or less designed for you to really get into the character of your investigator, because that investigator is a real life person. It is not well, it's a real life person in the game. It's not an orc, it's not a goblin, it's not a fantasy human or a fantasy elf. It is a real life representation of what a person could be in this game. Meaning that you don't really have a whole lot of hit points, and you don't really have a whole lot of sanity either. Which brings me to my third reason why I think it's such a great game. So the third reason why I like the game so much is because it changes the way you play the game. It changes the way you think about RPGs, and it changes the way you think about your characters. So think of it this way. Most of those guys that played in 9 PM to Philly, which I should have a link for up here, they hadn't played Call of Cthulhu either ever, or they hadn't played it in decades. And they're coming from all these level-based systems, such as D&D and Pathfinder and Starfinder. It got them into the mood where they were just like, I can't just kick down the door. No, Call of Cthulhu is not the kind of way that you kick down the door. And you'll see if you go and watch the live play that a lot of the things that we did, even though it's a skills-based game, we didn't roll for everything. There were some things that people were just finding by the way that they were telling me how they were portraying their characters. So if one of the characters said, I'm looking on the shelf, they don't need to make me an investigation roll. They see the piece of paper that has the handout that they need. So what I really like about it is that it keeps you away from the thought that you can kill everything and that you just need to roll for everything. And it gets you in the mindset of saying, hey, let's slow down and let's take a look at everything. My number 4 reason why I like Call of Cthulhu so much is because there is a large mythos that Lovecraft has created, and same with kind of his, I don't want to call them underlings, but the other people that write within his universe. They are expansive to the point where it's a good chunk of the Rule Keeper book, just because, you know, there's a lot of really big, scary, melt-your-face-off monsters. But the thing is that you don't need to use those. Again, in my 9 PM to Philly, and in a good chunk of my homebrewed Call of Cthulhu games that I write, don't even use standard monsters. They use the monsters that you could, I think of, basically, because I want to kind of mislead my players to maybe think that, oh man, maybe that is Amigo or something. But no, it's something that I completely came up with on my own. But you don't have to do that. If you'd like to, you could also use the Lovecraftian universe. There's so many stats out there for all these different monsters that if you really want to throw your players up against an older one, a great old one, you can just do that. But don't feel like you have to. And finally, the 5th reason is you don't have to die, and you don't have to go insane. This one has been kind of, this is a myth that has marred Call of Cthulhu for a long time. I still have to work through this with some people who are like, well, you can't really just play a campaign of Call of Cthulhu because you're gonna die. No, that's not true. One of the greatest pre-published grand campaigns is Masks of Nyarlathotep. You can totally get through most, if not all, of that book with one character. I think most of the people I know who have played it have, not to avoid too much spoilers, have died or gone insane by the end, but don't think that Call of Cthulhu is one-shots only. I have successfully run a 10-session campaign with Call of Cthulhu. So I just don't want you to think that you have to die or you have to go insane on your first your first campaign, you can in fact get to know your character and expand it. So that's why I think Call of Cthulhu is the best role-playing game out there for horror. Those are the 5 reasons why I think you should give it a shot. It's free, so just go and look at the rules. Even if you don't want to play it, just go look at the rules and see how a game is designed from the ground up to be a horror game and not an action game with horror slapped on top of it. I thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys liked it enough where you can hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to check out the other channels and the Tabletop Dungeoneers Discord. I'll have a link to that in the description. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I hope you guys have a great day, stay spooky, and game on.